Morning, everybody. Sunday morning, the last day of May. Gorgeous out here. We're gonna start getting hot eventually, maybe in June tomorrow. We're doing some tech tips finally, and this is going to be several of issues that we all have in doing what we're doing. All right, this car is on the lift here. We're doing trafficator and steering box and all kinds of stuff. So there's a lot of different information you're going to get. Say if you just want to change out the steering wheel, we're going to show you how to do that. And your trafficator and your stator tube, his is bent. But we'll start with this one that most of you have the problem with. That's the steering box. Get it right up here. You see that? Okay. You see the oily mess? That's real common. Yours is probably dripping. Now, because of all that dripping, you always have crap draining down here, dripping on the floor. The box is supposed to hold 90 weight. Seal right here, up in here, goes bad. Won't hold the oil, it all drips down. You keep filling it up, it keeps making a mess of your suspension. So we're going to show you how to fix that. There's several ways it can be done. This one, we tried the stop leak, Lucas stop leak. That works maybe 30% of the time. If the seal's not too bad, it'll swell it up. We always put that in the steering idlers when we rebuild them. If it doesn't work, then the seal's too far gone. Then, to get this mess here to stop, you got three ways. First way is ridiculously, stupidly hard, and that is remove the entire unit out of the car, which requires taking out the grill, taking off the steering wheel, undoing the whole column, pulling it all out. It's a nightmare. All right. The second way is to try to pull the pitman arm in place here and put in a new seal from underneath and put it back. That also is a nightmare to do because you just don't have room to work, and it's on there real good, and if you get it back wrong, you screwed your steering. The third way is simple and never fails. So here's what you do. You got this oily mess here, dripping all the time. What you want to do is get the oil out. Now this has right here is where your stator tube comes out. We've got a feed wire there now. We've removed this stator tube because it's bent. So with that gone and the jam nut and the little collet gone, oil dripped out to that point, but I want it all out. So then what we did is we took these there are four bolts here. We loosened those bolts and pulled this plate back just a little bit. Do not take these out because these things have the little shims and spacers in there that need to be there because they hold the bearings in and then the end slop. So if you pull it all out, ball bearing's going to go everywhere and you're going to be in a nightmare and you're back to number one. Take the car apart and get it out. Just crack the seal, put your can under there. Whether you used STP or you used Lucas stop leak, as thick as honey on a cold day, just let it drip. Now once that has all dripped out, every bit of it, go back, tighten these back up right here all around and get them real good and tight. Don't worry about this, we'll show you this later and how to do this later. Then you can get in here with some brake clean, some simple green, whatever you want to use. Clean all this mess up and blow it off, get it good and dry. So you're dealing with dry. All right, so you've removed all the leaky, drippy forever out of that steering box that you can't fix, cleaned it up. Now, how do you keep it from looking like that in the future? Here's what you do. All right, we're going over here with dirty fingers because I forgot to put gloves on. It's Sunday morning. Hey, I'm not even wearing work clothes. All right, making up as go along. You put grease in it. All right, not wheel bearing grease. That's not a good idea. And here's the reason why. Wheel bearing grease is not meant for gearboxes. What is made for gearboxes, and all our northern friends know all about this, and Canadians, because it gets so cold up there. There is something that's used in all farm tractors and PTOs and gearboxes in the frozen tundras in Alaska and everywhere. And it is used in gearboxes because it never wicks away from the gears, never freezes, never evaporates, and is green, and it's like $20 a tube. This is John Deere makes it. You can get it on eBay. It's called Cornhead Grease. So what you do is get a tube of that, okay? That's the grease. This fits in your normal grease gun. And you're gonna pack the steering box with this Cornhead grease. All right, now, Cornhead grease will never, ever, ever come out around that seal and drip. And you will always, always, always have a great lubrication between your steering peg and your steering gear, and have a clean box the rest of your life, and not have to worry about checking to see if it needs to be filled or not. Okay, so I'm gonna show you where. You will see us do this later, because we'll be showing you how to pull a trafficator, gonna show you how to pull a steering wheel correctly, and how to put it all back correctly and the wiring back correctly as we go along. But first, I'm just gonna take this time to bring it down and to show you what you got on top of the box, so you know what plug to pull. There are two things on these later boxes. The earlier boxes were like on the BN4s and into the first 100. You even saw them on the BN6s. They weren't adjustable. So this is an adjustable box, which means the steering wheel, you can turn your collet and pull the steering wheel in and out. The others were an early box which was not adjustable, and a little different on the box than the later ones that were for adjustable. They're more adjustables for sure. Trafficators are also different. All right, so after you put that back tight, and again, don't take those screws out all the way, just enough to let it drip, you're going to see the top of your box here, okay? On the top of your box here, you've got this. It's an 18 millimeter, I think it's 18, maybe 19 is what I use. I believe it's 18, might be 19, hadn't checked. Anyway, it's a bolt head looking, but it's a plug. You want to get a wrench on that, and it's normal thread, so you will turn it this way counterclockwise and take it out. And that is your port to put your grease in. Two ways to do this. One, you can take this peg and drill it, and when you drill it, you can tap in a grease fitting. That's a good idea for topping it up later if you feel it might need any for some reason. Or you just take it out and pack it. And once you pack it, it's pretty good. I've done both. Okay? So what you do then, you've got that open. They can be tight if they hadn't been moved in a long time. Let me get my John Deere gun out here. This is our gun for John Deere. It's got John Deere green on it. We take off right here the end of your normal grease fitting for your gun. That end right there fits right in that hole. And we pump like a half a tube of the John Deere grease from the grease gun into there. Then we put a little air pressure to it, blow it down so we know we're packing it down lower, and then pump some more until you know it's pretty full. That gets it around the worm gear and off. Okay? Then you can cap it off. Now you've got lubrication, not gonna drip ever again, not gonna make a mess, gonna stay dry and clean. And don't confuse it with, you have a second. It's hard to see in here with this camera. There is another screw and a nut. This is a threaded screw, slotted. I can get my, that looks pretty good. That's down there. It's got a jam nut. The jam nut, you loosen that counterclockwise, and that slot allows you, by going clockwise in, to tighten your steering, and going anti-clockwise backwards to the left will loosen your steering. So we all have play in the middle. That just wears there. That's normal. You can take a little bit out there, but remember, if you go too far and it's like, I got no play in the middle, when you turn full lock right, full lock left, the worm gear's not as worn there, so it's tighter. Your steering wheel is going to probably get stuck there, and you're not going to be able to turn it back unless you use both hands and both feet. So you can't take all the play out, but you can lower that peg a little bit by going clockwise, and I suggest making little turns. Say, don't turn it more than, try a 1/4 inch and play with it, and then back it up if it's too much and too tight, and don't return. You want that thing to always, when you make a hard left or hard right turn and you go to straighten back, it straightens back real easy. You don't want to have to force to bring it back. That's just too much. Then you put your cap back on here, something to play with. Screw that back on. Tighten her down. She don't have to be super tight. This grease ain't gonna be flying out, but all of that mess will be gone. Drive it, let it bounce down a couple of months, pop it again to see where you're at. See if it's lowered down. The vibration has packed the grease down, the John Deere cornhead grease, and you may add a little bit more. The stuff is like $20 a tube. Oh, we buy it by the case, tripped over a tire. And then you will not have any of this terrible mess and oop and drip here again. All right, so that's all we're gonna do on this. That tells you how to stop the greasy leaks and the oily leaks and putting grease in it. And next thing we're gonna do is tighten this up, clean her up to look like dry, brand new. And then we get to putting a stator tube in, and we will come back in a day or so. And I'm waiting on a stator tube. His is bent and broke, and they're only in California, so we're gonna have to wait on the United States Postal Service to slowly drag his ass around the country, bring us 2 stator tubes from California. Last time I had a package come from California, it made it to Greensboro, and they turned around and sent it to a hub in Kentucky, then in Illinois, then to Raleigh, then to here. They got within 5 miles of my building and then went another 1,300 miles to get it to my door. And they want to raise. Anyway, no, I don't have Corona. What I do have is 2 cups of coffee and a half pack of cigarettes so far. Speaking of Corona, I don't know about you guys, I'm still staying in. And only because, one, I don't have a life, and 2, so far, I still don't see anybody doing what they're supposed to do out there. And when I do go out, nobody's wearing masks, and I'm just waiting. They want to do a pill. When they get a pill, I'll go play with you guys. All right, so next thing we're going to do, here's the steering wheel. Some of you are going to want to replace your original old big old Ralph Cramden bus 18-inch steering wheel with something new. And we'll show you what's out there in different steering wheels and exactly how to get that off. This has all been removed already because we had to rebuild on the Trafficator, and we'll get our crap together to show you variations of different manufactured wooden wheels. This is a Limpert wheel that my buddy made for this car, and we'll have 3 or 4 to display. So I think that'll teach you at least how to, without going crazy, how to get that damn steering box to quit leaking. Good time then also to go ahead and pull the peg, square head peg. If you're doing that, you know we had to replace an idler. All right, here's one. We keep them rebuilt. Rebuild them here, so we keep them rebuilt here. So while you are doing the steering box, don't put grease in it. There's the square peg. Not anything weird. 3/8 wrench fits the square peg. Take that peg off. This doesn't hold hardly any, but if it hadn't all leaked out, you need to do something about it. And then over there, because it doesn't hold but a couple of tablespoons of oil, get you some of this Lucas Power Steering Stop-A-Leak, okay? Right off the shelf, anywhere. This stuff is like honey. When you try to pour it out, you can cut the cap. You ain't got to worry about it. You can reach this short bottle in there. You will see this stuff is like molasses. Fill that up to the top. Put your square peg back in. You've taken care of all your lubrications needed that will not leak. And if that leaks out of your idler, go back to time to rebuild the idler. That's all I got today. Y'all have a wonderful, beautiful Sunday. It's gorgeous out there. And we'll be back and show you more on how to change out your steering wheel and pull in your trafficator. That's it. Stay safe.